Welcome to the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. For over 10 years, giving you the best author reviews, features, and more with a surprise or two. All for you, the author. Now kick off your shoes and enjoy the show with your host, me, author H.D. Campbell. Welcome to an all-new Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. I'm your host, a very clean-shaven this time, H.D. Campbell. We have a brand new episode of two very powerful authors. One you heard last week, author Sharita Williams, where we're going to conclude her interview about empowerment, overcoming, achieving, abuse and bad family and just finding happiness. 100% happiness, and how she can help you find what you need to be successful to rise from your situation. So we'll talk to her first. Then we're gonna talk to my boy. I'm thinking, like, again, we got separated birds something. Marlon Mikulski, because we're gonna talk about his books. We're gonna talk about how we're so much a little bit more similar than we thought in our thought process, the type of movies we like, the type of things we like to do. It's almost like I was talking to myself, which I know I'm not. So, but before we start, I have a bit of news. The Awesome Times, written by Eddie D, has came off to an excellent start. We have a lot of good things coming on. My next book, my reprint of the Sergeant Wise Guy Chronicles, is coming soon, and our author Amy D. Beverly also, her book is coming this month. So we have a lot of things rolling this month. So when we come back, we're going to start the ball rolling with Sharita Williams.
Just who is author H.D. Campbell? He's the multi-gene author who can take you on several trips at once. With H.D. Campbell, you can have a romance, you can track a killer, or even stop an international incident. For 30 years and still writing, H.D. Campbell will take you on trips you've never been before. Learn more about him by logging on to hdcampbell3.com or check him out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. Read his rewrites of How to Lose a Black Woman and Late Murder at 10, with a new title coming soon. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Have you been to our website, www.hdcampbell3.com, lately? It's informative and it's highly interactive. Besides the personal blogs, the picture gallery, and a chance to learn about H.D. Campbell Productions, you can also buy books and check out H.D. Campbell services, all in one place. So log on to www.hdcampbell3.com, and when you're done, check out our media page at www.hdcampbellmedia.com. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Welcome back to the show. Our first author, we had the conclusion to Sharita Williams' interview. We talked a lot about where to buy her books. We talked about family healing, how she can help you heal. We talked about a whole lot of different things. So here's the interview. Whatever happened to the uncle?
My uncle moved to another city after my grandmother died. And I remember I was 18 and I had a baby by then. They went and got him for a family event. And he pulled me to the side, even at 18. I hadn't seen this man since I was 14. He asked me, how has my sex life been since he's left me. Now, I have had a baby by then, so at this time, I'm totally pissed off, and I'm telling my family, like, why would y'all even bring him around? Like, y'all know, it was total disrespect. It was a total disregard for my feelings. It was a total disregard for what I experienced. Even when I came out with my book, my family said that I was mentally ill, but they never blame the person that was actually diagnosed with mental illness for what he did. They actually felt sorry and said, well, you know, he mentally ill, so he just didn't know what he was doing. So that's still our uncle, that's still my brother, so they still gave him a pass. They didn't care about, you know, me as their niece or their cousin.
Don't make me cuss on my own show. Seriously, because I mean,
yeah, when I said they tried to assassinate me, they
don't really mean that. Yes, I mean, yeah, because he knows he was wrong.
He absolutely knows. If he's done this before and went to prison, I don't care if you crazy. You know when you're doing wrong. And the things he was saying was very inappropriate. And for them to know what he was even capable of, they never came to me and said, well, somebody touched you inappropriately, who do you tell? I'm from Marianna, Arkansas. So it wasn't, I didn't see cops and DHS and social workers. I didn't know to tell a cow. Because I was raised by my grandma. You tell her business, you tell anything outside of her household, oh, it's gonna be held to tell the captain. So it's like, you know not to tell anybody, you know not to talk about it. So who do you actually go to and tell? And they was like, well, what do you want us to do now? It's nothing we can do now. He can't go to jail. What you want to do? I want you to acknowledge my feelings and acknowledge what I went through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I've still to this day haven't got that. They will say they know what happened or they heard what happened, but it just doesn't matter to them. I should just get over it. I shouldn't blame my grandmother for not doing anything. I shouldn't blame anybody in my life for the way my life turned out, because I should take self-accountability for the things that other people did to me. This is how my family sees it.
One last thing, I promise. One last thing before we move on. I'm going to give you a word of advice right now. Do not try to get over it, because there's nothing for you to get over. Try to get your justice.
Right.
My next question for you, though, is how did this translate into a book? Tell me about your first book.
It translated into a book. I got to a point, well, actually, when I met my husband, he asked me what I wanted for my birthday. So what I wanted for my birthday was to finally get my book out and complete my book. And that's what he gave me for my birthday. He financed me to get my book out. And with getting my book out, that healed so many levels of hurt and pain and put me in a better position to be a wife for him. So this healed a part of me, just releasing this. And then I went on to release my second one because I want people to use kind of what I went through. And I created a self-empowerment journal to go with the book, to walk them through steps. Because writing was therapeutic. When you write, you acknowledging your feelings, you acknowledging where it came from, and you getting it all out of you. So that's how I did the follow-up with the self-healing journal.
Okay. So now that your book is out, how has that helped you personally?
Personally, I feel free. Personally, I feel like people have a little bit more of understanding of who I am, why I am the way I am, because they have a snippet of my life that they can see in the book. It summarizes everything. I could have went a little bit more in depth, and in my next book, I will go more in depth about my life in more details, because everybody's like, well, where's the rest of the book? Where's the rest of the book? I just wanted to give them a snippet of me. But it healed a lot of hurt, a lot of anger. It helped me learn who was really for me and who was really against me by the things they said, how they responded. For me, just telling my truth. It's my own truth. Actually, how do you invalidate me in my own truth?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you that really quick. How has the family received the book?
Oh, listen, they have never read my book. One, off top, they was against it because of what they thought. I never said anything disrespectful in my book about my grandmother. Everything is like matter of fact. This happened, this happened, this happened. They never read my book. So this is how you know people ain't for you when they don't even read your book, but they're against what you're doing already. So when the book was released, I didn't put my book on Amazon. I'm not looking to be the best seller in nobody's eyes but my eyes. So I didn't put it on Amazon. I didn't put it on this. I didn't put it on this. I got my own books. I sell them myself 100%. And I sold out of every last one of my books. My self-healing journals, I have a nonprofit. I incorporate this in my nonprofit teaching. So I sell this to school districts, schools. For little girls, they go through things like I was a little girl going through things. For the little girls that are insecure, for the little girls that have been molested, for the little girls that doesn't have stability, for the little girls that doesn't have parents. My journal helps them release all of that. Write it out, baby.
Well, my next question, I'm glad you brought it up. Tell me a little bit about your nonprofit organization.
My nonprofit organization is called Saving Our Queens. And it's a foundation for teens age 14 to 19. I wanted to target girls that kind of went through some of the similar things like me. So I foster homes and after school programs, and I just wanted to give the girls a mentor, a place to heal, a safe haven where you can be yourself, because a lot of people don't get that in their house. A lot of people don't get love outside of them, period. So I just wanted to give these girls that's a part of my organization a safe haven and teach them economics, gardening, mentor, empowerment, masterminding techniques, politics. I was a lobbyist, so I want to teach youth politics. It's not a lot of kids that are into politics or understand the dynamic of politics. And if they are going to be the next generation, we should be teaching them beyond what the schools teach them. These institutions, you know, we send them to these institutions and they collectively collect all these debt, and they come out with something that they remember, but you still have to have experience and job skills.
Yes.
So if they already had this when I was 14, if I knew about politics at 14, 15, and 16, and I could speak articulately on platforms, more people will be prone to listen to me. Especially at this day and time, the internet era. Oh, these kids are great entrepreneurs. They're great beasts. And so if I could teach a kid what's really going on in politics, what politics really is, and what they could do at their age to be an influence in their own communities and all over the world, I would love to do that. And that's what I plan to do in my program.
You know, they often tell people, see, one of my signature sayings is, if you want to keep somebody down, cut off their feet. Because if you don't cut off their feet, they start standing on their own 2 feet, you're in trouble.
and that's the way you're absolutely right, because when they find their own 2 feet, they realize they got them, they gonna run.
Exactly. Well, I want to go on. I want to touch on more. You have your own, like you said, you got your own lobbyist company, Diamond Public Relations, and you're speaking. I mean, everything is going great for you now. I mean, you're so blessed right now. How does that feel that you've grown out of so much tragedy into now helping people?
I feel like this is now. I feel like I can see why God took me through everything He took me through, to be this person for other people. Because I always look at it like, God, why me? Why me? Why me? Why me? Why me? Why do I have to have all the hard lessons? Why do I have to have this? Why do I have to go through this? Why my life have to be so hard? But somebody have to do it so they can go back and tell, baby, I've been through that. I made it through that. I am the example that you can make it through all these obstacles in your life. You can make it through domestic battery. You can make it through molestation. You can make it without having your parents in your life. I had neither one of my parents. I didn't meet my dad till I was 25. I've been on my own basically really since I was 14, because if you didn't have no guy, you didn't have nobody nurturing you, you watering yourself. It may not be good water, but you're watering yourself. So now I feel like I am that spark. I am that peak of light, where I can help not only children. I help other women. So many other women inbox me like I was molested at this age, or I never told anybody this, or I never did this. So now a lot of other people are speaking out about it. And about this family thing, it really let me know, like, God will replace whoever you lost. God will expose people that shouldn't have been in those positions that you put them in. And you will realize they were never meant to be in that position. You placed them there. So my life has been replenished. I have great friends. I have a wonderful husband. I have wonderful children. So I'm not lacking in any aspect of my life. So those people that fell by the wayside, they were meant to be by the wayside.
Awesome. My next question, well, actually, I don't have a question. I want to play devil's advocate for a second. All right, you made it. So what? I was molested as a child. I'm still living with my baby daddy. Yeah, he hit me every once in a while, but I can't afford to go nowhere. So how are they gonna help me get out of my situation?
Not only I'm a business consultant. I can show you plenty of ways to get on your own.
You gonna give me some money?
If I have to invest in you, baby, if you have to come live with me and we have to sleep on the floor together, I'm gonna be there because, like, I'm gonna get you out of that situation. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do or that I can possibly do to put you in a better situation and show you your worth. Nobody should be hitting on you. You don't have to stay in any of those situations. I walked away with 3 kids. Every guy that was toxic to me, I left on my own. And I stood on my own. My daughter's a double major in Tuskegee College. My son just graduated going to the Navy. I have a 15-year-old daughter that's a great gymnast, tumbler. All AP classes. So if I could show you better than I could tell you. So let me be the book.
You're another one of my favorite terms too. I also coined the term, you're a walking testimony. In other words, people can give a testimony, but some people are actually walking testimonies. That's what you are. So you, right. Children and everything.
Right. I just want to show you better than I can tell you, because I always tell my husband, like, I don't listen to people with what they say. You got to show me. I'm not gonna if you only have been married 2 years, how could you, baby, you ain't made it over the hump yet to really give me, you can tell me by your perception at the level that you done made it at, but you can't really give me no advice. So I like to follow people by their example of who they are. If you walked it, you talked it, I can see you done it and it's tangible, then I follow your path. But if you just talking and you ain't walking,
we're good at it.
It's gonna fall on deaf ears, and I'm gonna keep on moving.
That is so true. But you say your books aren't available on Amazon?
I don't sell none of my. I sell my books myself, okay. And I do it for a reason. I don't need no middleman. I don't need no accolades from anybody. I don't need to be Amazon's best nothing. I'm Sharita's best.
There you go.
I'm Sharita's best, so you're going to 100% invest in Sharita, and I ain't giving no cut to nobody but my children. So ain't nobody cutting in my pie. Yeah. That avenue works for some people, and I've seen a lot of people that has been successful in selling their books on these platforms. But I feel like at some point in my life, I'm gonna get to that level on my own. I want to be totally independently doing it. I don't want to give nobody no piece of nothing, and unless it's my brother or my sister. Mm-hmm. But if you way over yonder, I don't need you dipping in my pockets.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. With the path you're going to be successful. You got the right attitude. You got the right business acumen. You're going to be there. So
right.
No doubt about that.
And that's another thing I want to show people. Like, I wrote my books. I had no idea where I was going to sell them at, how I was going to sell. So I just marketed. Word of mouth gets you out. With my self-healing journals, I put this into my nonprofit. And now the school districts buy. That's why I don't look for vendors. I ain't looking for nobody to buy. Because you know what? I already know what market to put my books in, who going to buy them. So the next step, I wrote a kitty book. Because you know who going to buy them? the school district.
Yep, exactly.
So they will buy your book. So I don't have to look for people to buy nothing because I can say, this is incorporated in my nonprofit. They say how much it costs. Put it in your budget. And they cut you a check for your book. So I don't even have to look for people to buy my stuff. Even though this is an explicit book and it's based off my life, but you know who I sell it to? Teachers, principals, other women.
Well, I'll tell you this. Explicit or not, it's life. It teaches kids who are going through that it helps the teachers learn how to deal with kids who are going through that.
Right. You're absolutely right. I went and sat in this school when I ready to pitch one of my nonprofit, and I watched these girls. And they're so angry and so hurt. None of them are really walking in the essence of actually being a gentle woman because of society and what society make them be, because the home circumstances are probably what their parents are going through. So they're just angry. And I was like, why are all these girls angry? I was there and it was like 3 fights when I was there.
Right.
I'm just like, why are you so angry when you want to fight? Like, why is somebody else bothering you so much when you feel like you got to attack them? Because it's something in you that you got to work on. Because if you authentically loving yourself, and I love myself, then I'm going to authentically love you. And I'm not going to want to put my hands on you. You can say, you can feel how you want to feel about me. That's your perception. And you got to let people have their perception and not place their perception on you. I could care less what a person thinks of me in a negative manner, baby. That's your thoughts. You live with them. I don't have to sleep with you. I don't have to eat with you. And I don't go to sleep mad or angry or thinking about you. So you got to let them people go. So that's what we need to be teaching our kids. Let them people say whatever they want to about you. What can they do? Are they funding you, feeding you? If it don't directly affect you, then who cares?
Now that's one of the biggest things. One of the big questions I have, because we have the Instagram, we have the Facebook. We care more about what someone said about me on Instagram or Facebook than we do about our own lives.
Right.
I love the fact that you teach them different.
Right. You block them and you go on because I wouldn't say it's pride or ego. I just know who I am. I know what I bring to the table.
You're confident.
I know how valuable I am. So I'm not going to let you diminish that because of your perception. Because one, you basing it off of probably somebody else's opinion. You base it off only where your perception is. If your perception of yourself is low, that's why I don't be bothered by my family and how they react to things, because I know how these people and what frequency they on. If you can't authentically love yourself, how can I expect you to honestly love me? If I see you fight with Ray and Pookie and you going through toxic stuff, why do I think you not gonna put that on me, baby? So right. Ain't nothing these people can give me unless you're gonna authentically give me love, because that's what I'm gonna give you back. And if we ain't giving each other that, we ain't meant to be in each other's life anyway. So I let them go.
You know what? I bet you're that type of person that even though I hate you, you love the hell out of me.
Right. You always want to resolve the issue. Like, let's get to a place where we can agree to disagree.
Exactly.
In a mature manner. Even in a toxic situation, you can still find love. You always look for love. Even in bad situations, you look for love and how you can heal and get past this. Even if you never deal with that person again, you do that for you.
Exactly. So, well, my next question is actually getting around. We're wrapping this up to my final question. What final advice do you have to give to someone who's down and out, who needs to buy your book, who needs to talk to you? What can we do to actually get to know you to get help?
To get to know me, I'm very easy to get to know. I give you the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't try to pretty my story up. I don't try to pretty myself up. I tell you authentically everything I've been through, my imperfect moments. I get a lot of inboxes on social media. You can reach me on Facebook, on Instagram. I have a business page on Facebook called One Wing. You can inbox One Wing. I have multiple resources. I can help you in multiple ways, whether you want to write a book, you want a business plan, you want to create a business, you want to create a nonprofit. I am totally an asset to everybody in my life. I'm not a liability to nobody.
Okay. And now I want to give you the final word. Anything that you want to say, any advice, any shout outs, anything you want to?
I think everybody should write a book. That's my advice. Everybody has a story. I don't care if you have a pretty story, an ugly story, a bad story, a good story. You have a story that can help somebody or even inspire somebody, even if it's a good story. If you had great parents and you need to write this so somebody else can read about it and say, well, even though I didn't have this, I'm happy that you experienced it, or to know that somebody else has experienced it. So my advice is everybody to write a book and be an entrepreneur. Have something of your own. Even if you got to work a 9 to 5, still have something tangible of your own that's your own. And you don't always have to look for these big places to place your product. Market your product and sell it how you want to sell it. And you may start off with 2 or 3 people, but you keep manifesting, you keep praying, you keep looking for directions, and I promise the doors will open and you will find out where the floodgates will open and you will be blessed. So don't think you always have to put it on big platforms. Don't think it's very expensive to write a book. It's not that expensive to write a book. So you put your story out there, you never know how many copies you will sell. You never know when somebody be like, well, when you gonna write your next one? And that can motivate you. So just put yourself out there in any way that even it's not gonna make you comfortable. You're gonna be scared at first because you never know how people gonna react. But you gotta stand firmly in there and say, you know what? It is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. If I get 2 people to buy my book, that's 2 people that have read something about me and learned something about me.
Right.
And them 2 people gonna tell somebody else, well, I read her book and maybe she left this. So write your book. It don't have to be perfect. It's your story. Write your book.
Yeah, I love that. And people don't realize writing a book is free. I mean,
Right.
you don't necessarily have to have, if you got a pencil and notebook, if you got a computer, if you got some way of writing a book.
Right, write a book and it can help heal you. It can help encourage you. It can help make you. I don't care if your story is good. You putting your good story out there. I had the perfect story, and you put that out there. Just to know you put that out there and gave a piece of yourself away, and somebody else to read about it. It can enlighten somebody else. Even if you have a bad story, tell your bad story. Get that hurt out of you. Heal yourself through your own writing. Getting it out. A lot of things we hold in. When you hold all that turmoil, you hold all that pain, you hold all that, it turns into toxic. You become bitter. You become angry. That's why all these kids are fighting. That's why all these women are beefing on these social media platforms, want to rah and boo boo, because they don't know how to talk their problems out.
Also, for more information, you can also log on to my website at www.atcampbell3.com, and you can learn more about different resources and things that she can use to help you. And then also, too, she's also all over social media. I mean, if you need help, she can help you out. Just, you got to step forward and ask. So, there you go. So, when we come back, we're going to have an interesting talk with myself. Marlon Mikulski. I don't know. I don't know why I think having a conversation with myself, but we'll be back.
Have you seen The Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell? It's the best show you're not watching. Every week we have authors, editors, artists, and others from various industries. There are 3 ways to watch Author's Corner, primarily on our YouTube channel, HD Television, on our HD Television Facebook page, and on our media page at www.hdcampbellmedia.com. It's the Author's Corner with H.D. Campbell. Check it out weekly, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. And God bless you. Do you need editing and formatting services for your manuscript or document? Go to HD Campbell Productions, who will offer professional services and reasonable prices. For more information, call HD Campbell at 314 265-9169, or you can send him an email at hdcampbell3@msn.com. Let H.D. Campbell be your editor. As always, let your writing fuel your spirit.
Marlon McCuskey, I don't know what to say about this brother. Very deep. Someone you can actually get into a debate with and not feel as if you're being insulted. You can actually have a real debate with this brother and actually feel good because you both can see each other's sides. But I just got a bad feeling we met in another life or we got separated at birth because me and this brother got so much in common. And he's a wonderful author, has a wonderful array of books, and he is not done. So here's the interview.
I started writing screenplays in college, and then my wife, she's always been the big bookhead, so she told me, "Hey, maybe you should start turning these screenplays into novels." So that's what really got me looking at novels and really picking up books. Because before I was always really a big comic book fan, and I used to write short stories and make up comic book characters and stuff like that. So that kind of just naturally transitioned over to writing novels and stuff like that. So when I got my hands on a Zane book or Eric Jerome Dickey, that really opened my eyes up and really got me into it.
See, you can't have her like Sam Tuma beginning, writing screenplays, and then I actually love the comic books, which is actually pretty cool. So from there, how do we get to your first major project?
First major project. Well, by this time it was like 2006, 2007. I was writing this screenplay, not screenplay. I was writing a novel, and I was trying to find any way and any kind of way to get in and on in the book industry. And I ran across some books from Triple Crown publication back in the day. And they were always asking for people to submit manuscripts. So that's what made me say, okay, let me just go ahead and send this manuscript over. And about 4 months later, I got some mail and some notifications and stuff like that. Hey, are you interested in signing with Triple Crown? I was like, hell yeah.
Well, so now here we go. I want you to get into. I love your title, but I'm not the author. I want you to give me the names of your title from beginning to end. We're gonna go into each one of them.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I actually let me just read it off. I got something here. Okay. All right. My first book, The Pink Palace. I'll just read the novels off. The Pink Palace. Then there was The Pink Palace 2, Money, Power, and Sex. Then The Pink Palace 3, Malicious. So that was that first series of books. From Vixen to Diva, Born Sinners, Used to Temporary Happiness, A Dangerous Woman, If I Was Your Girlfriend, An Atlanta Tale, My Current Situation, An Atlanta Tale, and Returned. So those are the most of the books, yeah.
Before I get into it, he's gonna beat me up for this. But I was gonna say, man, acts like he doesn't work. He acts like he got all these books, but he just makes it look so easy. it's like he got all these. Like, oh, I just got a few titles. Blah, blah, blah. No. It's like so freaking cool. So give me a method as far as writing goes. I mean, how do you develop a character or develop a story?
Well, it all starts with an idea, inspiration, whatever it may be. Whether you want to tell a story about, it is a bit, for me personally, it's sometimes a song might spark an idea in my head, and I'll just run with it, or I'll have a conversation with some friends, and we'll get on this topic and we'll just be talking about it back and forth. Like, for example, If I Was Your Girlfriend, it was a conversation amongst friends at work. And we were talking about is it ever okay for your friend to date your ex? And, you know, a lot of people were vehemently, you know, against it. And I was just like, well, what if this happened? And then what if this happened? Or what if this happened? So, you know, so I was all, you know, me, I always play devil's advocate. So that's what the idea came from. And I just started writing it as a book.
All right. So actually, now, I'm paraphrasing, but correct me if I'm wrong. So you kind of like me. You like creating problems just so you can fix them.
For the most part, that's what most books are. Is a situation. It's a problem.
Pretty much. So let's get into your Pink Palace series first. Tell me
Okay. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Pink Palace series.
What was the inspiration, or?
Oh, tell me a little bit about the series.
Oh well, the Pink Palace books, they actually started off as just really straight up like a crime novel. And it was really more, when I started writing it, it was more centered around the male character in the book, who was not really giving away any spoilers, but he was an undercover cop. And this club that this drug dealer was operating out of was called the Pink Palace. And I can't remember what the original title of the book was, but it was something totally different. And when I pitched it to Triple Crown, they were more of a street lit genre of books. So the title, I wanted to find a title that kind of fit in with their series of books. So that's where I saw, okay, well, instead of calling it whatever it was called before, the Pink Palace, that's hot, you know, and everybody likes going to a strip club. So yeah.
But you know, one thing I want to get into the whole genre thing. It seems like the books that you write are more mainstream for African Americans. It's very odd. It's not genre based. It's more mainstream, which are very few authors can do that, because you have varying topics. I'll put it like this in each of your books.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at it like this. Like when I go to the movies, I like watching comic book movies. I like watching dramas. I like watching sci-fi. I like watching romantic comedies. It's not one thing that I'm just interested in. And so when it comes to my writing, I feel the same way. It's like, yeah, I might want to write a sci-fi book, or I might want to write this romantic comedy, or I might want to write about the hood or the strip club or whatever it may be. So I think that's whatever inspires me. That's what I want to write. I kind of felt like when I first came into the industry, coming in under Triple Crown Publication, and they were known for street lit, urban lit books. That's what I was doing at first. But then as I grew as a writer, and I just had other things I wanted to write about. So that's what I started doing.
Well, as your audience grew, because I know a lot of your readers. I've seen your book as it grows. Was there any pressure to do street lit at first, or were you able to do what you wanted to do?
I don't think I was pressured. I just think that was at the time around 2007, 2008, 2009, 10, 11. That was the thing. That's what was, and part of it is you do have to cater to the audience that's buying your books. So at that time, that's what urban lit, street lit to me was. It's at its best in the early 2000s, throughout the 2000s. So that was the genre that was mostly the focus, and that's what my readers were reading at the time. So I just kind of stayed in that lane until I was able to just say, you know what, let me try something different.
Well, my next question for you on that note is, a lot of authors don't know how to speak to their audience, or even predict how the audience. You seem to know, as you write your books, you seem to know the audience. How do you know what audience you're writing for, or how will they even receive the book even before you write?
I think early on you kind of get a feel for who's buying your books by the feedback you get, whether it's on social media, whether it's on reviews. when you go to book signings and book conventions, you get a sense of what your audience is into. I think that's early on, you kind of establish that baseline. And then as you kind of grow as an author and hopefully you're growing as an author and hopefully you want to expand on what you're doing, because I don't want to write the same thing over and over again. So I think once you establish who your audience is and what they know you as a writer, almost doesn't matter what you're writing. They know you as a writer. They know what your brand is and what you bring to the table. So they're more willing to take a chance on a book that they never really, a genre they never really mess with just because it's you. I wrote a book a couple years ago called The Dangerous Woman, and it's a book about assassins. It's more like a Jason Bourne type of book.
Oh, wow.
And that's really different from urban street lit. But and the thing I love most about the reaction I get from that book is that people will say, I don't really normally read this type of book, but once I started reading it, I couldn't stop. It was so good. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I'm just saying.
You can, though. That's right.
But once they know who you are as a writer, your readers are more willing to trust what you put out there.
See, that's pretty cool. Now, I want to get into my favorite book, but first, I want you to tell me your audience's favorite book.
Oh, man, wow, that is a hard question, because it's always the book you're working on at the time. It's always your new favorite book.
Uh-oh.
I would say, man, A Dangerous Woman is one of my personal favorite books because it went so different. It was such a different book from anything I've written before. And then My Current Situation,
You just said fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's my most recent book, and I really enjoy it because of the dynamics between the characters and the setting, and it speaks to me on a real world level.
So tell me a little bit about how did the idea for My Current Situation come up?
Okay, that's easy. It was based on another book I did a couple years ago called Used to Temporary Happiness, where I wrote about a group of friends that lived in Cleveland, and I had a co-writer on that book, and we wrote that story, and I loved the interaction between those characters. But the story idea for Used to Temporary Happiness was based on my co-authors, more of their experience. So I said, I wanted to do something like that again. So it's kind of like I kind of took a lot of inspiration from Used to Temporary Happiness, and I made My Current Situation based on a bunch of college friends who've been together for years, and then they started going through different changes in life.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. So now, because I'm going to ask you, you have a lot of fans. How do they receive your work?
I have a lot of fans?
Yes, you have a lot of readers. Some of the reviews I'm going through.
Well, thank you. I think how do they receive my work?
I normally don't tell people this, but I see a lot more good than I see I don't see a lot of bad reviews from you. I see all good. If there's any, it's only one that I may have missed or so, but they're all good. I know what I like, so there you go.
Yeah, I'm really thankful, because you never know how readers are going to react to your book. All you can do is really just write what you feel like is true to you, and put your best foot forward. Make sure you do everything you're supposed to do as a writer. Get your editor, and just try to present a book that you feel like your readers and yourself is proud of, and thankfully I haven't had too much pushback, so that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, how many more books you got in you?
Wow. How many more? As long as
The reason I asked that question is because if you stop anytime soon, you're gonna get a lot of blowback. so make sure you know how to answer this question.
yeah. Well, I currently have at least right now 3 books that's kind of like in the chamber. That's more or less completed. That are due to come out in the next couple of years. But just in general, I mean, as long as I have inspiration and I have a good idea, and because I enjoy telling stories, I really enjoy the craft of writing and interacting with my readers after they read the book, and I really enjoy it. So I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. Hopefully.
Give me your best fan story.
My best fan story?
Yeah. Interaction with a fan or reader.
Ah, man, I gotta think about that.
The reason I asked that because I actually got in an interview that someone did with me about my books. They like totally spaced me out. Like, oh wow. I've had a couple of fan reactions, but I have a lot of them. But it's like my favorite one.
Yeah. I don't know. I never really thought about it like that. But I had one fan a few years ago, back in the Pink Palace days. She told me that she couldn't. She loved reading the Pink Palace book, and she was up. I think she was in New York, and she, the covers for the Pink Palace books are kind of risque. So she had, I think what she said, she took a bunch of Post-it notes and she put it on the cover of the book. So while she's sitting on the train, people won't look at her funny because of what she's reading.
Oh wow!
I thought that was hilarious to me.
Oh wow! So, like you say, when you're not writing, you like watching movies, reading comics. What all else do you like?
Oh, I'm a big, me. I'm a big movie fan. I love, watching movies, particular, anything Marvel. I grew up reading Marvel comic books, so Marvel Cinematic Universe was just my heaven. That was just made for me.
Are you like me? Are you waiting on that phone call? Hey, we need some writers. Oh, okay. Well, interview over. Bye.
Yeah, exactly. We're done.
We're done. That's it. Marvel's calling. So that's pretty cool. So go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, watching movies, reading comic books. I'm a big hip hop music fan, so that takes up a lot of my time too. So yeah.
So wow, bro. Damn, it's like I'm talking to myself. Damn, and no wonder we so cool on Facebook. Yeah. So, well, my next question is, how can more people get to know you? How can they buy your books? Where can they find you? How can we contact you?
Well, as you know, I'm big on social media, Facebook, Marlon Mikulski, Twitter, Instagram, also Marlon Mikulski. My website, where you can see all my work, what I'm doing, what's coming out, what's out, marlonmikulski.com. You can find my books, of course, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold. You can usually track me down that way. But if you want to interact with me, of course, social media is probably the best way to get in contact with me and to talk to me.
Cool. Well, that's all pretty cool. Do you have a website or anything? Or?
Yeah, marlonmikulski.com.
Awesome. So, this is the part of the show where I give you the final word, your shout out, your writer's advice, whatever you want to do, the floor is yours.
Oh, okay. Well, the floor is mine. Well then, vote! No, I feel like as far as what we do here is as far as being writers, I always like to tell people who are getting into the industry, if you love writing, get into it because you love it, because you love doing what you do. If you're expecting to make a lot of money doing this, then you probably want to change gears, because that doesn't happen right away. I mean, not to say it doesn't happen, but if you don't have a love or passion for writing, then it's probably not the genre for you to be in. And I would just say, write what's true to you. Don't try to fall into what's trendy. And a lot of times that's a gimmick, because if you're writing something just because it's trendy, just because that's what you think that's what's in, that's what readers are buying, it will work for a while, but then after a minute, they'll kind of come to the conclusion that, man, you're not really good at this. So if you're always I always say, nobody can do you better than you. So write what's true to you. Write what you're passionate about. Write what inspires you, what you enjoy. I feel like once you're doing that, you can hardly go wrong.
Okay. I want to say one more thing before we sign off. If you guys ever wanted to get to know a brother who you can actually talk to, have a real debate, not the debate where you're angry and you're walking away. I mean, a real debate about anything you post, movies, politics, or whatever. Follow this thread on Facebook. I'm serious. Like I say, we've been friends on here for years. We've probably been going back and forth on a lot of stuff. But like I say, I feel bad that I'm just not having you on. This is not going to be your last appearance.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. I feel like it's always great. I mean, it's always great to have an opinion, and there's nothing wrong with somebody having the opposite opinion of you. Sometimes you learn more by somebody else's different opinion. And you get to say, oh, well, that's how you see this, and this is how I see it. And so I can understand why you feel this way about whatever it may be.
Right.
And I think you don't have to be disrespectful you don't have to be disagreeable to have two sides of a conversation.
Right. That's why I kind of like our debates on Facebook, because I don't feel like I'm being disrespectful or I'm disrespecting you.
Right. So, it's never a personal. It should never be a personal attack on the person just because they feel a certain way about whatever. It's Facebook. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
It's not that serious.
What did I tell you? I mean, we talked about everything, and still, I just feel as if I've had a lot of great interviews. In fact, the majority, in fact, 99% of all of my Office Corner interviews were awesome. But this is the first time I ever felt like I'm looking in a mirror and talking to my bearded self. But that's how Marlon McCuskey makes you feel. So when you get a chance, log on to marlonmccuskey.com, friend him on Facebook, wherever you find him, friend him Twitter, Instagram, he's everywhere. So, but don't take my word for it. See for yourself. When we come back, we're going to have HD's 2 cents.
Even after 20 years, readers are still captivated with How to Lose a Black Woman. Now, in its second printing, follow the story of Bruce Williams. Shall I say, mild-mannered school teacher in search of love? Using social media, prayer, and a lot of trial and error, Bruce fights to learn what a true relationship is all about. Filled with original poetry by H.D. Campbell, it's a lesson from one young man's point of view. Buy How to Lose a Black Woman on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, in your favorite bookstore, and even on his website at www.hdcampbell3.com. And as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. Do you need editing and formatting services, promotion, or do you need a press kit? Let H.D. Campbell Productions put together a package to suit your needs. Let us handle your promotion, editing, press kits, photography service, and a lot more. We even do custom videos and videography. To learn more, log on to www.hdcampbell3.com or email us at hdcampbell3@msn.com for a free brochure. You can also contact us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. We guarantee professional services at reasonable prices. Check us out, and as always, let your writing fuel your spirit. By Late Murder at 10 by H.D. Campbell. Former investigative reporter Mark Alexander thought his life hit a slump when a mass shooting results in the murder of a controversial news anchor. Can Mark get out of his head long enough to crack this case? Well, I'm not going to tell you. You'll have to get your own copy of Late Murder at 10 on Amazon.com and coming soon to your favorite bookstore.
How'd you market your book before social media? Did you call bookstores? Did you talk to the local TV station? How did you market your book? For this is HD's 2 cents. Social media is awesome. And yes, I was published right before social media became a thing. In fact, I was published before MySpace even became a thing. That's how far back I was published. MySpace, I think, came out was probably already out and I just didn't notice it. But I didn't actually get on MySpace until a year or two after Late Murder at 10 got published. What that means, I was calling bookstores, I had a website, I was letting people know in different chat rooms and different email blasts, things like that. Locally, I did book signings, things like that. I did have the advantage of working at a TV station, which helped me out a bit. There's a lot of different ways you can market without social media. See, today social media can help, but what if social media ended tomorrow? Not saying that it will, not saying that there's a problem, and no, I don't believe those social media scams that says they'll be charging you next week if you don't sign this petition. No. I have to see that on the news or so. So my advice to you is think of some old school methods. Email blasts. You gotta make some phone calls because see, just social media will kind of make you lazy. You have to get out into the community. You have to talk to folks. You have to start giving out flyers. You gotta start making T-shirts. You have to start thinking outside the box. In fact, forget about the box. There is no box. Use your imagination. That same imagination you use to write good stories, you use to market. I mean, there's wonderful ways to market. If you own your house, put a stake on your lawn with your book on it. Make a flag with your book on it. Always have business cards on hand with your book cover on. Always be prepared to give out books when you're on the street. This is the 21st century. There's no reason why where you need only one way to sell something. So, long story short, if you're going to market everywhere. Now, I will say this for social media. I'm in 199 different writers clubs. I start there. I start with the writers clubs. Then I make, as you see, I make commercials right here on the Author's Corner that you can see to also share online. I also share artistry for whoever wants to see it. So long story short, because I can ramble on forever, find creative ways to market without the use of social media. In fact, that's my challenge to you this week. Find ways to market without using social media. Well, that's the Author's Corner. Here's what we're going to have on next week's Author's Corner. that's the Altar's Corner for another week. Stay tuned next week. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to shave a little more. Peace. God bless. Let your writing fill your spirit. And please, be safe out there.